Welcome back. So the other big question for us to consider in this lesson is which decimals terminate and which decimals don't. There are certain fractions where when you turn them into decimals, they terminate, and certain fractions where when you turn them into decimals, they do not terminate. For example, this fraction, 2 over 25, well, if you turn that into a decimal, we would make this into 8 over 100 times 4 times 4. And 8 over 100 is 8 100ths. It just stops. This is a terminating decimal. And this fraction, 8 over 125, let's see, multiply by 8, that's 64 1,000ths, that's 64 thousandths, right? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 64 thousandths. This is also terminating. By the way, the other way to do this is to divide 125 into 8. And sure enough, doesn't go in, goes in 6 times, goes in 4 times. But other fractions, like 1/3, 1/3 is 0.333 repeating. This repeats. So what makes the difference between fractions like this and fractions like that? So you may want to try a few. You may want to look at 1/5 and 3/10 and 4/7 and 12/15. 12/15 is not helpful. Not at all. 12/25 is more helpful. Maybe we can decide from these. Maybe 5/9 is helpful. Maybe 2/11 is helpful. You might help to take a look. Some of these are terminating when they are expressed as decimals, and some of these are expressed as repeating decimals. So hit the pause button, use a calculator, divide one by the other, see what happens. Or do it by hand if you don't have a calculator, see what happens. Did you get my answer? 3 of these terminate, 3 of them repeat. But what's curious about the ones that terminate? Well, their denominators are 5, 5 times 2, 5 times 5. We could put 3/4 in here also. That's 2 times 2. But the ones that repeat have denominators like 3 squared and 7 and 11. So what makes the difference? Well, the difference is as follows. A rational number, A over B, is equivalent to a terminating decimal if A over B is in simplest form, meaning it cannot be reduced, and B is a product of only 2's and 5's. Only 2's and 5's. Why? Because if it's going to terminate, if the fraction's going to terminate, here's 3/4, it's going to terminate because it's in simplest form and its denominator is a product of 2's and 5's only. Well, we're going to scale it up to something out of 100, right? We're going to scale it up to 75 hundredths. In order to scale up to 100, or 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever to scale it up to whatever, these are powers of 10. Powers of 10 are only 2s and 5s. If this isn't made up of 2s and 5s, we can't scale it up. If there's a random 3 down here, or a random 7 down here, or a random 11 down here, we can't scale that up to 100 because we can't undo the 11-ness of it or the 3-ness of it. So a rational number will only be a terminating decimal if it's in simplest form and the denominator is made up of 2s and 5s. Okay? Okay. Excellent. You have seen all the big ideas from the lesson. I look forward to the next time we see each other.